Wicked Cyclone is an awesome RMC roller coaster at Six Flags New England. However, can it win against the other beast incarnate? Versing Maverick. These two roller coasters are both some of my top roller coasters, and they are both, in other words, phenomenal rides. They both are basically considered the miniature beasts of the roller coaster industry, and what they provide, because of their height and speed still makes them some world's class roller coasters right here. And I know that this seems like a little bit of a weird matchup, but then when you think about it, like I said, they're both the miniature beasts, and they both have the intensity, the speed, they both have some crazy inversions, and they're both considerably one of the best of their manufacturers. Maverick is by Intamin, while Wicked Cyclone is by RMC, and it is an RMC revamp of Cyclone from Six Flags New England, and Maverick is at Cedar Point, and it opened about 10 years ago as of 2017. Again, these are both awesome roller coasters. However, only one can deem worthy of being the better one in this roller coaster fight. So, be prepared to say to yourself, who's gonna win? Because this should be an interesting one. And hope you all enjoy, and please subscribe. So, without further ado, let's begin with the coaster fight. First up is the height, and this is only worth 1 point because the height is not that important. Because look at this. Again, Wicked Cyclone and Maverick are both small, under average size roller coasters. They are not huge roller coasters whatsoever. However, with what they provide, the height is basically nothing. That's why it's only worth 1 point. Wicked Cyclone, however, is slightly taller than Maverick. Wicked Cyclone approximates at around 110 feet, while Maverick's around like 103, 105 feet. So considerably speaking, Wicked Cyclone is still slightly taller, but it is still taller even if it's just a little bit taller. So with that 1 point, it is going to be going over to Wicked Cyclone. So right now, Wicked Cyclone has the first point in this coaster fight. The next category is speed, and again, speed may seem like a huge category, however in reality, it isn't. Maverick and Wicked Cyclone are both also just average speed roller coasters. However, here's the gist. Maverick starts off at about maybe 58 miles per hour-ish, and the maximum speed is hit at the launch, which accelerates it to 70 miles per hour. Wicked Cyclone, on the other hand, stays in an approximate about 60, 58-ish, 56 even miles per hour. So Maverick, if you're technically speaking at the maximum speed, Maverick gets the point here, because Maverick's maximum speed, going by the maximum, is 70 miles per hour, so that's pretty damn fast. And again, speed does not always matter, however the launch is hit at Maverick, which gives it that steal of a point here. Wicked Cyclone stays at around the speed where it goes from the drop all the way to the brake run. So that's still good, it's an okay speed. However, Maverick at the maximum is still faster. So Maverick will be getting the fair 1 point here. The next category is the drop, and this is worth 2 points because the drop are like some good, I guess, add-ons to a good roller coaster. And because these roller coaster drops are not that big, they are going by how good the drops are for these two roller coasters. Now, Maverick has a very steep drop, 95 degrees, so that's beyond straight down. Wicked Cyclone, on the other hand, is about a 78-degree drop, so it's steep, still very steep, however not straight down. If you ask me, Maverick has the better drop because of the steepness, and because it's still like just slightly under Wicked Cyclone, it's still a fairly big drop because of how steep it is. So if you ask me, Maverick's drop is just slightly better than Wicked Cyclone. However, if you're in the backseat of Wicked Cyclone, you get dragged over the drop. And because Maverick's trains are smaller, you get the same sensation in all three cars, I should say. So the drop still will be going to Maverick, if you ask me, is the better drop here. But not by a lot, because Wicked Cyclone has the longer trains, which means if you're in the back, you're going to be flung over the drop. However, Maverick, again, has the smaller trains, so you're going to get the same sensation, pretty much. But still, if you ask me, Maverick's drop is just slightly better. Now the duration. Now these two roller coasters are both fairly long, good roller coaster durations. However, Maverick is a little bit over 2 minutes, while Wicked Cyclone is a little under 2 minutes. So by technical speaking, Maverick gets the point here. Because Maverick is a slightly longer roller coaster. I said I could time Wicked Cyclone at being around 1 minute 50, 1 minute 40. Maverick, on the other hand, is a good 2+ minutes. So that's a really good duration for the type of ride that Maverick is, especially. However, Wicked Cyclone is still fine, because what it provides in that minute 40 is still phenomenal. So it's no problem at all. However, still, again, if you're generally speaking, Maverick is the longer roller coaster. So Maverick will be getting the 2 points for this category. Now the intensity. And the intensity is worth 3 points, because intensity really puts a big hole onto a roller coaster. The intensity is a major aspect of a roller coaster. Now, if you ask me, these two roller coasters are both right up there with one of the most intense roller coasters I've ever been on. Wicked Cyclone is intense because it's compact, insanely compact as a matter of fact, and you're flying all over through the inversions and steel framing like none other. Maverick has the launch, which is out of nowhere, which just adds on to the intensity, that beyond 90-degree drop, and you are flying through the turns and inversions as well like crazy, until you fly and slam right into the brake runs. So these two roller coasters are insanely intense. However, if you ask me, Wicked Cyclone is more intense than Maverick, because of the way you fly through the steel framing like you're gonna get the head chopper effects at the maximum, and you are flying through the airtime hills and the inversions like none other. Maverick, on the other hand, is almost right up there with Wicked Cyclone with intensity, and if you ask me, Maverick is probably right up its alley. However, if you ask me, Wicked Cyclone, for my personal experience, was more intense than Maverick. And this may shock some people, but Maverick is considerably one of the most intense roller coasters out there. But Wicked Cyclone, because of the compactness and the steel framing through the inversions, etc., makes it the more intense roller coaster for me. So that's why Wicked Cyclone will be getting the 3 points handed over to them. Now the airtime. Now this is a not so tough decision, because here's the thing. Wicked Cyclone is a main aspect of airtime. It is one of the most airtime packed roller coasters I've ever ridden. Maverick still has some airtime here and there, but it's more focused, I guess, on the intensity and the inversions and the launch and all that stuff and the beyond 90-degree drop. Wicked Cyclone is all about the airtime, because you are flying through the airtime hills and it's ejector airtime, so you're just getting flung out of your seat, then pushed right back in. Maverick has some okay ejector airtime hills. You get maybe like 1 or 2 sensations of ejector airtime. But Wicked Cyclone, if you ask me, has the more airtime by far. So the 3 points will be going over to Wicked Cyclone, because Wicked Cyclone has some crazy airtime, and it is one of the most airtime packed roller coasters I've been on, period. Wicked Cyclone has a lot more airtime than Maverick. Simple. Maverick has some airtime, however, it's more focused on the other categories, while Wicked Cyclone is more focused on airtime intensity, while Maverick is more focused on intensity, inversions, beyond 90-degree drop, and all those twists and turns that just come out of nowhere. But the airtime really, you have to admit, goes on to Wicked Cyclone. This is a no-brainer. Smoothness, worth 2 points. These roller coasters are both butter smooth. However, here's the thing. If Maverick still had the hard shoulder restraints, I would still say, but here's the thing. I did not ride Maverick until they got the vest restraints, so I would not know if it was rougher or not when it had the hard restraints. So I would assume so, because your head might have hit it a few times, which could make it considerably somewhat rough. However, nowadays, when I rode Maverick, butter smooth. When I rode Wicked Cyclone, butter smooth, because it's newer, obviously. But still, if you ask me, these roller coasters are both just butter smooth roller coasters that are both, equally smooth. Because 2 points will be going to both of them. Because I really can't say, oh, Wicked Cyclone is smoother or Maverick is smoother. But I would probably be saying Wicked Cyclone is smoother if Maverick still had the hard shoulder restraints, as from what I'd assume. But if you ask me right as of now, they are both about equally smooth. Because Wicked Cyclone's a fresh RMC and Maverick's a fresh-looking Intamin that's still running well to this day. The next category is layout. Now, this is how good the layout is. And if you ask me, they both have some pretty solid layouts. Wicked Cyclone has that very compact, all crushed together in one area layout, while Maverick is somewhat spread out and compact at the same time. Like, there are some areas of insane compactness, while there are also some areas where it kind of spreads out from each other a little bit. And that's a good thing. But if you ask me, Wicked Cyclone has a okay layout, but it's still very compact. However, Maverick, if you ask me, has the better layout, because Maverick, again, compact at one point, and at the other point, spread out some others. And I also love how Maverick has the launch as kind of like the mid-course brake run. It's pretty much the launch. So it just surprises you, shocks you out of nowhere. You're just flying through that 70-mile-per-hour launch. Wicked Cyclone is just more compact, but again, Maverick, I like the way they made Maverick's layout more. Now the Inversions. Now the Inversions is a added on category to these two roller coasters because they both have inversions. Now here's the thing. Wicked Cyclone's inversions are more intense and Maverick's inversions are more spread out. So you already know what I'm going to say wins this one. Wicked Cyclone wins the inversions category because Wicked Cyclone's inversions are pretty much inside of steel framing, so it's almost like your head's gonna get chopped off at the very moment. It's really, really cool how they made the inversions on the Wicked Cyclone RMC Hybrid. They used the framing and just put the inversions kind of through it. They kind of strung it through. And it makes it really, really cool how they did that. The inversions are intense. You are flying under and over the tracking when it comes to the framing for the inversions, and I just love Wicked Cyclone's inversions. Now, although the inversions may be a little bit more natural, like on every other RMC hybrid out there, the way they made it this time for Wicked Cyclone makes it all the more better. Maverick has some good inversions. It has the corkscrews that just come out of nowhere, and again out of nowhere. However, Wicked Cyclone, you have to admit, has the better inversions if you've ridden both, because of the way it interferes with the framing. And the winner is Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags in New England. Congratulations, Wicked Cyclone. You have deemed worthy over Maverick at Cedar Point. And that is saying something. Because if you ask me, Maverick is the best roller coaster at Cedar Point. Now, honestly, I might just prefer Maverick a little bit over Wicked Cyclone. But honestly, again, it could go either way, because they are both the miniature beasts of the roller coaster industry. Wicked Cyclone is the newer, fresher one, while Maverick is a slightly older one, however, is still a really good roller coaster. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that Wicked Cyclone dominated Maverick, because it didn't. It won by what, 2 points? That's almost, pretty much nothing, almost. But Maverick, if you ask me, is one of the best intimates out there, as Wicked Cyclone is probably, to me, the best RMC hybrid that I've ridden of the many. So if you want to catch up on what I think more of Wicked Cyclone, how about you go check out my top 6 RMC roller coasters, which is the previous segment, as opposed to this one being my newer segment. That's the previous segment, so please go check that out. And eventually I will also be counting down my favorite intimate roller coasters I've ridden at the moment, so Maverick will be very high up in there, just letting you guys know right now. But Wicked Cyclone, awesome roller coaster. Maverick, awesome roller coaster. I suggest you hit up both ASAP. But Wicked Cyclone has deemed to be the better roller coaster. Although, again, Maverick might just be kind of better in my point of view. But Wicked Cyclone just stole it in the categories, I guess. But Wicked Cyclone and Maverick, both phenomenal roller coasters. Highly recommend them both. And I mean both of them. If you miss any of them in your amusement park industry traveling life, then I feel bad for you. Awesome roller coasters. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe and I'll catch you all next time here on Coaster Mania's channel.